Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Today we'll be speculating about a possible rework for the Wood Elves, so without further ado, let's begin. The Wood Elves are a faction where the idea sounded great on paper, but the final execution was somewhat lacking. In truth, out of the huge amounts of DLC we received for Total War Warhammer 1, I rank the Wood Elves as the lowest on the list. And in truth, I actually believe that the Wood Elves should have been the first faction to see a rework in Total War Warhammer 2. They've just not aged well whatsoever. Now, with that being said, we are aware that Creative Assembly are looking at different ways that they can expand on the Wood Elves and change them around, so I want to add in my own speculation towards that. First, the Amber system. For those who need a refresher course, Amber is a type of currency only available to the Wood Elves. You would gain Amber by either capturing cities or allying with factions. For each territory they controlled, you would get a certain amount of Amber, bigger cities giving more and lesser towns giving less. Now, the Amber system was very flawed. As explained, when you captured cities or made allies, you gained Amber, but when you lost cities and lost allies, you lost Amber. Seems simple enough, but when Amber was tied to practically everything in the Wood Elf faction, it did become a bit of a problem. You needed Amber for some research, you needed Amber for certain upgrades to buildings, and worst of all, you needed Amber to actually recruit certain units. If you played as the Wood Elf side to this pack, to recruit the higher level Treekin, you needed to pay Amber. If you played as the Treekin, to recruit the higher level Wood Elves, you needed to pay Amber. This made playing the Wood Elves extremely frustrating, considering that you had to already think really hard on how to spend an already limited resource. So I'd like to see the Amber system reworked completely, to be honest, and these are my ideas. The Wood Elves can take inspiration from either the Tomb Kings or Ikit Claw's Skaven. Amber could be used to maybe buy special magical artifacts, upgrade units, or maybe unlock special regiments of renown. Maybe there could also be a special mechanic where, in the sense of harmony in the woods, where the more Amber you have, the higher your public order and growth in your cities in Athaloran would be. Lastly, the acquisition of Amber should be handled a lot more differently. Instead of just capturing cities and making allies, you should also be able to acquire Amber from doing events and quests, also generating it from a building and maybe from a skill. This would stop the whole limitation of the actual system. Next, but still related to the previous topic, is the Wood Elf army. There should not be a paywall in terms of units in the form of a special currency. Whether you're playing as the King of the Woods or Durfu, you should have access to all Wood Elf units. The Wood Elf roster itself is not that varied, and putting a weird paywall behind endgame units just makes no sense whatsoever. This is another reason why the Wood Elves aren't fun. Instead, they should have access to it at all times. What should actually be different between both playable factions is special regiments of renown. Say for example, Orion would have special Wood Elf regiments of renown and Durfu would have special Treekin versions. It just makes more sense rather than basic bog standard stuff from their army book. But moving swiftly on, now we have the technology tree, which I think is one of the smallest, tying up with the Beastmen and the Warriors of Chaos. The Wood Elf technology tree is extremely small. I understand the theme about it, it's shaped like a leaf to represent the Oak of Ages, however it could be done in a different way. 3 separate branches, rather large ones at that, one dedicated to Wood Elf units, one dedicated to Treekin units, and the other one dedicated to expansion and economy. This would allow you to actually research stuff that fits to your playstyle and change around as and when needed. But while we're on the topic of playstyle, the Wood Elves need to change their stuff up a little bit. Right now, you play as a pretty isolationist type of race, and your economy can't really handle a lot of armies. As you capture cities and so on, you're basically left with outposts that can hardly defend themselves. Their garrisons are generally quite weak, the income provided from those cities is also not really that high, so you're not really fielding a lot. And yes, I get it, it doesn't make sense for the Wood Elves to form a mighty empire, they are not an expansionist race. So what I'm proposing here is a very similar system to how the Empire currently works, where if they capture a city, they can gift it back for a lump sum of cash and also a high boost to reputation. This keeps with the theme of the Wood Elves being isolationists, where they'll go out when they need to, but generally keep in Athaloran and all their other magical woods. Speaking about magical woods, we need a new start position. Generally I don't speak about these in overhaul videos, but it's very much needed. Right now the two Wood Elf factions start literally right next to each other, and they play exactly the same way barring the unit choices. There aren't just Wood Elves in Athaloran, instead there are a few other areas like in the Empire and in the Southlands where you can find Wood Elves. So having a new start position and a new legendary lord would actually be quite good, considering that we could start somewhere else and not have to play the same campaign twice. But if they're going to give us a new start position and a new legendary lord, they're going to have to change over the campaign mechanics themselves, because right now it's all focused around the Oak of Ages leveling up. If you're going to have a new faction which is far away from Athaloran, it makes sense to have new campaign mechanics too. Something along the lines of a joint effort by all active Wood Elf factions in the game, where they would work together as a collective effort to try and build up the Oak of Ages and heal the world roots that were supposed to cover all over the Warhammer world. The Oak of Ages in this case wouldn't be player controlled, instead it would be a invulnerable NPC faction, while you the player and all the other Wood Elf factions would be collectively donating amber towards the growth of the Oak of Ages. This would make the campaign a bit more interesting and give you a bit more incentive to try and protect your allies, or else you're going to have to be stuck doing all the work by yourself. And for the last topic, I can suggest a way on how to keep the Wood Elves as an isolationist race. Here we'll draw inspiration from Norska, where they will only be able to inhabit those areas densely populated by woods, and more than likely they should be able to take over faction capitals so they could still build armies and so on, but in order to keep them more or less isolationist, their armies should be considered hordes. You'll still have access to the regular city building in Athaloran and any of the other cities that have woods around them, but in terms of your generic armies, hordes would work quite well. Naturally, the Horde system also needs a rework in its own right, but we know that Creative Assembly are actually looking into that. Oh, and one more thing before we actually do end this video, because I've just literally thought about it now. A new Law of Magic. The Law of Athaloran, also known as Fey Magic, it was something from way back in 6th edition, I believe? Maybe it should see a return. The Law of Magic itself has a bunch of buffs, summons a lot of different monsters, and has a lot of spells that work with and for terrain. Summoning special terrain, boosting it up, and so on. We know that Creative Assembly have said that they are looking at the idea of possibly adding in stuff like special terrain, like Poison Woods, Arcane Fulcrums, and so on, so the Law of Athaloran would actually work really well here. But that's just a suggestion. It doesn't matter too much if it doesn't get added in or not, but it just would be nice. But what do you guys think about these speculative changes? Is there anything else that you guys would like to see added in or changed with the Wood Elves quite drastically? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and let's start a bit of a discussion, shall we? But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description link below, we have various links to different social media platforms, such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord, where you can get in contact with the Great Book team, and talk to us about Total War Warhammer, Total War in general, Warhammer, or pretty much anything else. Also in the description below is an affiliate link with Element Games, where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Purchasing using our special link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Honestly, it's amazing that you guys want to help a small channel grow and get to our higher level of content. It's incredible. A special thank you to our patron, Gibraltar LUSC, for subscribing to us at our Fane level. Honestly, mate, you're super cool. And a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, commenting on these videos. Honestly, the channel's been growing a lot recently, and it's amazing to be able to speak to so many Warhammer fans worldwide. As the channel grows, I hope that we can continue to entertain you, but with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very soon. Have a good day.